Well, that was game number 1 for today. Of course, we have a second one. FNATIC go up against ACEND, but first, it's time for a mic check for FNATIC versus OG.
And
What are we waiting for?
Let's see how this is gonna go.
They stunned.
I cannot destroy.
I'm holding for the garage.
I flashed long.
Dead long.
Short, short.
One more long.
Short.
Dead short. I'm 1 HP.
I don't have drone, by the way.
Nice.
2 dead. I'm 10 HP, guys. I'm 10 HP.
There is a gap on the left side of this.
Yeah, I can see. I'm gonna hide.
I'm planting.
I'm gonna watch behind. I'm gonna spot behind.
First left, I'm Molly.
Going graffiti.
Can be long already.
On
Going graffiti.
Nice.
Close me. I have 5 seconds. Nice.
I smoked again.
They smoked me.
They stunned from garage.
I can ult here.
I can stun garage. I'm stunning garage.
Nice Alpha.
My reveal is ready, Alpha. Jake.
Come on, nice Alpha.
Jake, revealing now. There. I bring count. Nice kill.
Nice, good job guys, nice.
Can we try to keep backside if it's possible?
I think it should be possible.
Do not let them plant.
Make sure we're communicating, staying confident, and just staying positive. We haven't won yet. Alright.
I'm focusing on backside.
Mid, nice.
Bomb. Bomb. So it's gonna be B. I need heal. Bomb was mid.
One out B.
He's peeking deep.
I reveal.
B looking. Only one.
Okay, let's try. I'm peeking field.
I'm just taking.
Close orange one.
Killjoy is low. Let's try.
Camber on me.
Coming up. Behind me one.
I can't.
Pull on me. Let's fight.
Stage low, nice.
One more.
Nice, Mystic, nice.
Last day.
Come on, calm down, 3v1. He can win this.
He's crossed. He's not holding you, Fear and Alpha.
Nice!
Yeah,
13-0 for FNATIC. One of the most dominant displays we've seen in a best-of-3.
A dominant display for FNATIC, of course, but even Boaster was saying we have to control our ego. We are human. We might falter, but we just got to keep it in our heads the whole time.
I mean, Boaster is just the perfect captain, in my opinion. He's like positive, he's reinforcing his teammates. He's also insanely smart about the game, has good game knowledge, and he's like a combination of a leader, coach, and an analyst. Like, all like Swiss knives, you know.
He always has something to say, definitely. Of course, FNATIC also has something to say to ACEND today. Obviously, this is one of the most expected matchups that we have because obviously we're talking about the 2 defending teams that we have. Not only that they're going against the champion winners, but of course there's a little bit of history. Not the ones that we consider legacies, but of course they're always on the fun side of things, right?
I really like the fact that Boaster has the default knife. That guy never uses a knife, like ever skin. Like, I mean, a skin never.
That makes it rare.
Well, it kinda, yeah.
Got to look at it that way, you know, and always a positive in this. Boaster and the squad trying to make it a flawless run this time. And let's go through their opponent's roster. ACEND is up first. Kakuka, walk us through it.
I mean, obviously, we know there's 5 players, or if you don't know the 5, you definitely know the 3, the core. Zenit, Starks, Zeke, and the new integrations of VAC and Monster. Probably last week was the hardest that they've had so far because they had, you know, an easy start. We were talking about the new faces and how they were fitting the team, how difficult it is for example, a player like VAC to come in and IGL in a team like this. But as I was saying, last week, it wasn't all sweet, it wasn't all easy against Focus. They managed to win this map off of ACEND, a map that has been their home ground for a very long time and that actually did not what to do on the attack. We saw them actually not having an answer to most of what Focus was putting on the table, and they had to perform that comeback. And especially on the last map, on Icebox, things got really, really tricky, and it was down to Zenit and Starkster to actually pop off and say, hey guys, we got this.
Yeah, and Starks was popping off big time on Icebox. If I remember correctly, 28 frags on the chamber. We're gonna see a repetition of the maps because we both know that FNATIC likes Icebox, and ACEND also likes Icebox, so most likely we're gonna see that duel between those two. But in general, I feel like ACEND, didn't benefit so much from the changes in the patch like the other teams could have been more creative. Like their best player, CNED, is just a star Jet player, right? And now he can't really rely on the Jet mastery that he was presenting before, and he is gonna be playing on different characters typically.
Yeah, and we need to talk about this head-to-head that you see in your screen right now. Alpha here versus CNED. We're talking about the new young gun of Alpha coming in from Turkey with the, you know, the guy that created the term, the Turkish Jet. So, of course, brilliant performance from the two, but the fact that Alpha is fitting so well, not only within the team, but also with the harder and harder competition, gives us a lot to think about of how things are going to work. Also, because if we make that comparison, it would be STAGE2 and CNED versus Turkey and Alpha.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison, I would say. STAGE2 is, you know, silently became one of the most consistent players in our region. First was his perspective on him was like, oh, he's more of the supported player. Then this guy got the insane buff on the flash. He became one of the best skies on the planet with so many insane pop flashes and just getting kills off of that. And now he's popping off on the chamber as well, and he's becoming like one of those star players of ACEND.
We talk a lot about consistency, and I think that within these 4 players, it's a word that applies to all of them. So that is one of the big duels that we have ahead for today.
Well, then IGL. So you talked about Boaster, you know, the perfect IGL for the team. He's the one that can really keep it together. What's it look like on the other side?
Well, VAC is the new addition to the team, so we don't exactly know how well he fits for this team. And also, at least my outsider perspective when it comes to ACEND is that they are more, let's say, individual based than FNATIC. FNATIC is more on the procedure, on the structured side of the gameplay, while ACEND relies more on small synergies between the players and just like playing off each other than actually having a open, like a very complicated strat book. And VAC, because of that, I feel like relies more on impromptu calling than FNATIC.
I think also the comparison, we were talking, for example, about CNED and Alpha and how CNED has been in the scene for a very long time. This is the same, but the other way around. Boaster has experienced IGL and going internationally, going against the best teams in the world. They were there in the finals in Reykjavik, and throughout the entire year, we've seen them a lot. So it's not only that he stick to the core and know exactly how to work around the players, this is like the first big test for VAC.
Maybe the first big test for the entirety of ACEND in this case. I mean, we talked about this earlier. This is the 3rd time these two teams go up against one another, because when you're thinking usually FNATIC versus ACEND, they probably played each other a million times. No, they did not. This is literally the 3rd time they play one another in an entire year, Lothar.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the fine things about EMEA. We have so many good teams that you're not gonna have all of those duels happening all the time. So I'm pretty happy to see FNATIC versus ACEND already during the group stage, and it's gonna be exciting to watch, specifically also because it's the new patch. I hope that FNATIC will show some maps that we didn't see before, and ACEND, well, maybe they'll have something up their sleeve as well that we didn't see before.
You talk about maps, expectations?
Expectations, on the side of FNATIC, I need to see that icebox again. We saw the 13-0 last week, and really looking forward to see that. On the side of ACEND, I'm kind of having my doubts on what they want to ban. I don't know if they want to ban that icebox, if they want to go back to banning that fracture. There is a lot of questions, because I can see the strengths. We've seen, for example, Guild peeking everything just to know that the counter strats of that. So it's hard to predict.
And in general also has, I would say that the teams have to some degree similar map pool, and in the previous iterations of the patches we have seen for example FNATIC play very well and even set up metagame on fracture, but since last year we didn't really see much fracture from FNATIC, right? Or breeze, yes, exactly. So it's like there's so much, I would say, space for both teams to outplay each other in the map selection and hide some information from the potential compositions. It's just going to be an enjoyable watch for me to see what they're going to end up with.
And actually, the 2 maps that we saw them play against each other on the previous stage, first one was Haven, and let me tell you that it's not only that ACEND could not play that map, is that it was a 13-4, completely one-sided on FNATIC. They knew exactly what to do on every single round. And the second map, I think it was ACEND, and still though, you know, it was a 13-10, but it always gave you the feeling that FNATIC had everything under control. And that was before the upgrade that they had.
And that's the big challenge now. Can you replicate or even do better than your results in stage 1 now against teams that have been transformed into something that's supposed to be better? So this was the big question with Boaster. How do you now fit together at Fashion? How is he going to play together? How will you go up in this big challenge against Ascent?
During that interview today, he actually also mentioned, when you asked him about Fade, he was like saying that he doesn't like her. And it's like,
Doesn't really know her either.
I'm pressing X to doubt you. Because, you know, I'm always certain that Boss is one of those players that always tries out the new stuff to see and understand exactly what are the expectations for the players. And he was like trying maybe to paint like, oh, he doesn't care really that much about Fade. But I wouldn't be surprised if FNATIC just comes in right now with some really cool Fade setups.
Well, on to our map, Vito. Let's see exactly where we're going to play. Are we going to see that ice box? Yes, we will. It'll be map 2, Ascent first, and Haven Kakuka. Guide us through it.
Okay, so Ascent has banned that Fracture, FNATIC has banned that Breeze. No surprises on that side, so I'm going to assume that it was Ascent picking up that first map. The last time that they faced against each other, as I said, was that 13-10, so definitely they want that revenge. This is also the map that FNATIC lost against FPX, but I think that it was mostly on FPX doing things very, very well. That Fade is probably going to be there. I know that you're looking forward to that. Maybe Boaster, you know, he has to pick his fights as well. Now that you have Enzo on the team, you can rely on doing something else now that he's also moved to the controller. So I think that Ascend picked this map because it's the only one that they actually felt really comfortable playing against Focus, which was a very good opponent in my eyes. And lovely to see that maybe we're going to see CNET back on that Jet. But remember also that this is where Alpha is going to go on that race. Remember that ace that he got on that eco? Yeah, beautiful.
I mean, in general, also Ascent is one the actual map where FNATIC already used Fade, right? But it's so interesting to hear, like in the interview when Boaster said that they don't like it, so maybe they will. It's either they're gonna stick it or they're gonna change up the entire composition, right?
Yeah.
So the previous one was, as you mentioned, Alpha and Race. We had the Fade, KO, Omen, and Chamber. On the other side, for Ascent, Ascent, last time they played it, it was Jet, Omen, KO, Killjoy, and Sova. So it's gonna be interesting to see if there's gonna be any changes.
I expect them. Okay, Mystic is going to go back on that KO. Dirk is actually
Chamber.
going to stay on the Chamber. I thought that he was maybe going to go on that Killjoy, Boaster, on the Omen, Alpha, on that. I think that there is no major...
Yeah, that's exactly the
That's
same.
exactly what we expected. That is also the composition that we saw the two previous teams on the side of Ascend playing here. So knowing that FNATIC, I'm going to say that they decided to start on the defense. One thing that I saw in their previous game is that they were very repetitive with the setups that they were doing on defense. Not only how Dirk was playing, but Mystic and Boaster being super right-sided on that map.
The major difference here, a very small one, maybe in like when you think about the perspective of what is being changed, is that there's an agent that has the ability to play defensively the operator with a means of escaping, and one that has maybe some room to do it. So it's the Jet versus the Chamber difference on the defense. That's gonna be the big test for those two teams. How effective will that be when it comes to the sniper usage on defense?
You pressed X to doubt? Yes, we get the Fade in it. So we'll see how FNATIC actually perform in this first map against Ascent. We'll toss it to our casters. Enjoy.
Thank you so much to our analyst desk. Tom, it's time to dive into this game, and I could not be more excited. I mean, I get to see mon petit ami playing, and that's enough for me. What are you excited for in this series?
You know, I don't know. I think I have to look for the Turkish battle. I think it's going to be an absolute banger of a game. And honestly, let's just get this one rolling because it could be the best game of the entire group stage.
Well, we're going to set some high expectations for this matchup. Two of EMEA's best teams fighting for that top spot in their group. They have had pretty clean starts to the season, but at least one of them's going to go home with a loss today, Tom.
Yeah, I think this is actually going to be the first real test for Ascend, which is going to be the thing I'm most intrigued by, because they played against Focus, who proved to be a solid team, but are definitely not one of the teams we expect to qualify. And then they beat OG London United, which, well, so did FNATIC, absolutely smashed them. FNATIC, on the other hand, have proven themselves in Week 1 versus FPX, so I think a little bit more to be shown. CNET is gone. He's already in.
Oh, my. Well, that's the power of the shorty, I guess, now playing inside the smoke, and he's lurking with the shorty in market. It makes no sense, but it's what you're seeing, and this could be crazy. He's managed to avoid the reveal now, looking to get up close and take them down, but Durka presenting quite a challenge on the other side of the map. Still yet to be rooted out from this side, and he's still got support. Taking down at least the one. That headhunter seeking some more victims, but they're not showing themselves, and now smoked off. He'll step in, but Starzo's waiting.
You've always got to be wary of the Starzo lurk within smokes. A 2 versus 2. Both teams with small amounts of utility to play with. Both Prowlers actually available for Enzo. He might be able to clear some of these closer angles, make things quite a bit more awkward. In fact, he's caught back with it. Left nearsighted, but somehow still surviving. Doesn't go down, and instead he's going to catch Alpha. Eventually, it's Starzo to close the round, and Ascend, well, they look like they walked into a trap, but they came out of it with the round.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the A plan, the B plan, the C plan all fell apart, but at the end of the day, all Starzo needed was to start lurking in smokes, taking those duels, brings it across the line beautifully for this team. With a 1-0, FNATIC now pushed down to an eco on defensive side, and we can see that there's a lot of players ready to push out once these barriers go up. 5 mid push, and the headhunter going to be backing up from range. We've already seen Durka take a scalp with it. Here's his chance to get a little bit more. The recon destroyed instantly. And you can see Ascend. They don't want to peek right away, but it looks like they're tempted. They're poking around. They're trying to see how many are here.
It reminded me of like that old school train setup where you would just stand on each other's head as a pyramid. Like that. Just everybody just seeing if they can just set up a firing squad. And, you know, a few stray classic bullets can always help out your team, especially in a round like this where they've literally invested into nothing but the utility, which obviously they can just save over into the next round anyway. I don't mind these sort of rounds. They're also going to throw out a few smokes almost to try and deter Ascend from going in this direction, but they've failed. They're walking straight into the A side. The only person there is going to be Mystic.
Yeah, should be locked out of that completely. You just play the retake here, try to do max damage, contain them. But diving in and rushing in to try and grab kills is an almost certain way to lose any potential damage and leave yourself in a pretty tough spot. They might think there's 2 mid. After revealing that, I mean, they'll know someone could be switched up close to be revealed by that, but they want to pressure CNET anyways in a second if it's there. Flank came through, good kill at least. But that was the player who was working with a ghost.
Yeah.
The rest are the Spectres.
This is where they could actually do some real economic damage. However, already Starzo's going to pick off another. Whoa, that's already more cost than we're expecting to see total. Not going to win the round, of course. The time is far too gone for that. Maybe trying to bait someone into the spike, and Alpha, well, he'd need to hit some pretty crazy shots here. Instead, we'll just run in and make sure that nobody's going to get that extra ultimate orb. Good work from FNATIC. It's still a round for Ascend, but only 2 survive.
You know, I think it's interesting because I look at that for a split second and think Alpha Air, you know, it's worth going for that fight and then doubling back into the spike purely because, you know, it's a KO you're up against. Well, there's 2 things, obviously. Firstly, he doesn't want to get baited if that guy just runs mid and then he can't get to the spike and he just ends up surviving for no reason. And the second thing is like, Alpha Air has 2 orbs. At this stage, it ain't going to help him building up that one coming into buy round, and it might actually help Ascend. So even worthwhile from that perspective. Here's the dash right on in. Ascend are picking up the pace. CNED bringing the hurt, but wow, they bring it back.
Yeah, the fact that Durka actually manages to get out of there is quite surprising. Just about quick enough on the TP. Still tagged low, and they've retrieved a couple of rifles. Wouldn't mind seeing one of them go into the hands of Monster, but I guess when it's seen it on the other side, you'll accept it. Never mind, they do actually switch up. They're giving that healthier player the opportunity to really do some damage, and it's almost level pegging, which again, considering this is a bonus round, that's a great spot.
Cover going out.
Well, the smoke to the back right. Gonna block out a lot of Ascend's fragging potential on range, but, well, they've come up with some solutions to that. 3-0. A flawless run continues. And FNATIC on the defensive side is certainly showing some weaknesses here. That's a costly loss for them, not only unable to punish the weapons, but Now having to go to an eco again. These attackers are already building the foundations of a good half.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning that winning this game for either side, firstly, I think it stops you from possibly falling into last place, of course. But I think it's like a very, very high percentage they're going to be locked in for playoffs. I think either side will be within like 98, 97%. So for both teams, this is a huge game to get them, well, within spitting distance of being in that playoff stage. Obviously, in this round, you can't expect a whole lot from FNATIC, but any cost they can cause, any ults they can earn, would be nice. But CNED is just battering them. He wants that Blade Storm online. Oh, you know, he couldn't kill the young Turkish player. He was like, nah, honestly, I can't do it. Someone else will have to take it.
Well, luckily
Respect,
someone did
CNED,
step in
respect.
time. 4-0. This has been a beautiful run for Ascend thus far.
Why we
We're
watch
showing
this
this again, are we? I can't do it.
You are the chosen one.
Well, he did have the high ground. And 4-0, we've gone. Let's see how this fifth is going to go, or if it's going to go. FNATIC on the defense have bought up. Durka with an operator. This makes a big difference. It's towards B main. It's going to be soloing around this area. Trap on mid. This allows them to fully rotate to A if they want, if they get pressure. All they've seen so far, though, they've heard an ult or be taken, and that's about it.
A very slow start to the round for Ascend. Maybe expecting a little bit more aggression here. Durka is going to have the operator in hand, so, well, that's not really something to take lightly. Potentially going to try and sell a bit of a fake with the utility off the back of Zeke if they desire it. Instead, going for a little info. It hasn't moved Durka off the angle, but he doesn't hit the shot. Oh, no, he does, sorry. He hit back down to 2 HP.
How dare you doubt this man? Nade going through. It's not destroyed it.
Oh, no.
Oh, they're in trouble. They've got to get out of the site now. They're trapped in. Alpha Air's got nothing to do. 2 players detained. It's a disaster. Enzo stepping up to try and save the day. He does a damn good job, but they're hunting these players down. Weapon back up, though. The fight can commence. Alpha Air still alive, and they've bought enough time. CNED left alone. Too many players to take on, and a nade to finish him off. First round found by FNATIC, and the guardian angel that is Enzo stops them from being punished severely.
They need to give him some sort of medal for that. Like, he needs to be honored by the team. Like, to spam down 2 players through the smoke while your 2 teammates are just... They basically surrendered. They got their hands up going, yep, no, we realize we're on the wrong side of things here, guys. But we're just gonna hold back. And then he just saves them out of nowhere. And while that should have been around for Ascend, especially with everything going wrong. Nade not quite doing the damage it needed to, and a blip. But somehow, well, Enzo saves them.
Huge information here. 3 players spotted outside of A right away. FNATIC know that this is the side of the map they're looking to pressure, but they've done this before, right? They've sent players here, they've made noise, and then they've gone back. But this time, it's full commit, and this time, Mystic's there to stop them. A double kill right away. Zeke, though, hasn't gone down fully. They might try the res, at least they're baiting it out. Baiting the sound cues, trying to get some spams that they can return fire upon. But, well, there's just no chance to get this guy back online. Zeke ultimately goes down, and the advantage sits with FNATIC.
Monster's been a little sneaky. Oh, it's an awkward fight. He's hit the dink and manages to win it in the end, but the trade out is instantaneous. Leaving these remaining 2 still sat within this smoke. Starzo's teammates have, well, had a taste of their own medicine with how much this guy normally plays within the smokes, but we've seen it many a time from Mystic as well. And now just trying to fall back. 30 seconds left. Reposition not going to be as easy as you think, because already a rotation has come through from Durka. He is well aware that they could be going back in the other direction, and the remaining 2 are left to try and hold on to this A side.
In fact, it almost looks like they're seeking a retake, or at least just a shot on 1 player. This is a very passive hold. They want to avoid that, though, as they dive onto the site, and, well, that should be the spike denied. There it is. There it is. Boaster with a double to close it out. It was definitely shaky at the start, but they got there.
He was just teasing, you know. Always the showman. 4-2. Economy's still not in a bad position at all for Ascend because of how clean some of those earlier rounds were. This is something, I feel like we've seen Mystic do this on almost every agent he plays. Now it makes a little bit more sense because they've given him that more aggressive initiator role, but before he was doing that with Astra. Like, there's still a round that just sticks in my mind of him doing that with a Classic, and I wish it didn't stick in my mind because it shouldn't have worked.
Shadows traveling. There. A very different approach from Ascend this time. Playing out in the default. Aggression coming up through short, CNED. Okay, Zeke still has his knife to work with. CNED wants to push short. I imagine you see that come through the information to suppress whoever's on the other side. They're not.
Oh.
In fact, it was all just a bait, grabbing that ultimate out. It's on the back of the drone being outside of A. And that's exactly what Ascend wanted, but they still need to deal with Durka. He can't TP now, but that doesn't stop him.
They haven't pressured onto that position. They're waiting for the split to come through into mid. It leaves this deadly duo. Raze alongside the chamber to try and hold the line. Durka's still sticking around. He's been able to move for quite a while, but the shot not going to be connecting. Teammates still within, and in fact, they've been hit by Nightfall, leaving them revealed, but also deafened. They can't hear anything that's going on. They can't hear any of the pushes that are coming around the side, and Dirk is still just waiting for the shot. It's a whiff from Alpha, yeah, but it might not matter. Starzo, the last man standing, I'll have to run the gauntlet all the way, but he might just about have time.
Oh, but I know he doesn't. He's going to be cut off by Mystic here. Door closed, but...
Oh, no.
Yeah, but he's going to break the door. Look, run through, Classic out, easy kill, closed out. Really nicely handled by FNATIC. I think Mystic staying around short was essential to still have that net cast wide once they knew he'd slipped through. And also not being too aggressive, right? He wasn't peeking up on short, you saw. Could have gotten it a little bit awkward, but they're not overzealous. They're playing this in a tight game, and I think that's exactly what I want to see, promising a long series between these two as the scoreline gets ever closer.
It seems like we got a pause coming through of sorts. It's actually going to be a tactical one. So even though Ascend's still in the lead and seemingly like it's been a back and forth of rounds, it's definitely not been a clean affair. Just making sure they get on the board early. Now, I'll be intrigued to see how this purchase goes through, because, okay, Monster's a little bit low, but the rest of the players still have plenty. Bladestorm also online for CNED, but again, with how aggressively he's playing these entries, you almost don't want to sacrifice this man a gun. On the other side, Tour de Force not going to be used unless they decide to give that operator to someone else, and, well, I guess the showstopper's the main point of call for Alfire. He's had a bit of a slower start than what we've seen in previous weeks, but it doesn't really worry me too much with the depth that both rosters within the server have.
Now, I am hoping off the bat, drop from Boaster, drop from Durka. They got some money built up here, and they can keep themselves very healthy economically. You can see those drops coming through now. That's just balanced it out so nicely. They've got a good buffer of credits on that defensive side, building it up. And it's exactly what you want. Gaining control of your economy is essential. And they've managed to do it on their way back in. Ascend still have a chance, though. This buy round right here, they can get some more rounds built up. And really all they do need is a little streak, right?
They just shot dart his trap. Oh, okay. Well, the shock dart seems a little bit irrelevant now. I'll be honest with you. Oh, cool. They've shock darted the trap in mid. Well, Alpha, yeah, that quiet start didn't last very long. He's managed to find two off the back of the showstopper. Already putting this advantage. Ascend, they took some time, Mitch. They wanted to have a little chat about this one. They wanted to see what they could do in this round. They've lost two players, but the luck has made things interesting.
Tell you what, it would have been 3 kills as well if Alpha Air was hitting the gym a little bit. That nade, if it was thrown just a tiny bit harder, it could have been huge, because Vac was 1 HP after the C's inside of B main, but nade didn't quite make it around the box, which was a shame. Either way, He's done more than enough already. He's done damage on top of that, and well, he's still alive to tell the tale. Almost not alive is Enzo. That was a close one. He's dropped to the side, but Alfier is going to look to say,
Oh my god, Starzo. He's going to get taken out in the end. And now the problem is the time. 20 seconds. They have to hightail it. And look at Enzo. He's just going to sit at the back. He doesn't even really need to peek anything. He's got his teammate on the cross. Boaster is playing this as safe as can be. You're going to have the paranoia through, and it's all too easy. Nice mop up in the end, but there was just a moment or two where you started to believe there was going to be a nasty return to form from ACEND.
That shot from Starzo was everything. That was so gorgeous. A quick reaction to take that frag, and you know, it's a shame. It's a shame it isn't Masters. We'd be doing our high-speed moment. We'd have that one locked in right now.
You know, if they see more clips than that, maybe they'll sponsor EMEA as well. There you go.
Oh, maybe. Oh, they sponsored an A4 for some clips. Big play here. Vax down already, straight out of the round.
He's not had the most luck, that's for sure. Dirk's aggression on this agent. Well, this is the reason he's playing it. He was given the opportunity to be the Raze main for the squad, but it's this aggression, it's this quick exit, it's the ability to basically push in that JW-esque style, but also have a way to escape. Still, though, you've got the likes of CNED. Blade Storm activated, but Dirk has repositioned once again, leaving them with a two-man advantage once more.
Oh, that spray was not pretty. This time the shot's not quite as clean from Starzo or from anyone on the ACEND side. In fact, they've only barely landed a few points of damage. The one bullet onto Durka, I think, through the wall is all that they're able to write home about. And after eventually taking down Boaster, all monsters left on 40 HP, naded, and then shot in the head. So that's about, you know, an eye for an eye, I guess. 5-4, FNATIC taking the lead, and as I said before, gaining control over your credits defensive side, it's the hardest thing to do. A lot of the time, it's what you strive for, it's what you live for, you yearn for when you don't have it. But right now, FNATIC have absolutely no problem. They're buying for the rest of this half.
Well, yeah, and the issue as well is the fact that it has been so clean. Like, the fact that a lot of these rounds have been with 3, 4, maybe even more surviving. So that, as you said, they've just got so much bank. Now, by the looks of it, a split on the cards initially, but there's not a lot invested into this round. Ultimate-wise, you got a lockdown, potentially could give you a little bit of extra control, or maybe if you pull a rotations, you could try something cheeky with a From the Shadows, but chances are it shouldn't be too difficult around. Oh, timing's really bad! Really bad for Mystic, he's caught. Now it gets dangerous.
Oh, good kill at least by Boaster. Spray down, he's trying for it. The RNG not paying off this time. Only a little bit of damage. I'll make it to the corner. Now the cover from Enzo comes in from up above, doing damage, dropping down a Prowler, blinding them up, back trying to take this player down, and he stops Boaster from reloading, deals with Enzo. A big play needed, but he won't be able to get it done in the end. 6-4 we go. FNATIC's dominance might not be done just yet. I mean, the reality is ACEND with 4 rounds. Like I said, they already built the foundations and they are very much there. If they can just push that little bit further up to 5 or even 6, it would help so much with the next half. But right now, it seems like they're running headfirst into a brick wall on some of these pushes. We'll hope they found a solution now with the rifles back out and the AWP in CNED's hand.
Yeah, I think one of the main issues they need to do is just counter Durka. He's been everywhere and, well, for them, nowhere. Haven't been able to spot where he's pushing in pretty much all of these rounds, and if they do, he's already gone. I think if you look comparatively to the first week, second week, and now third, it just seems like he's got the mechanics down to a T with this agent, especially on the defensive side. Now, mid control has definitely been one of the issues for FNATIC so far. It's a spot they've been able to take. They've also been getting rid or shock darting the trap early in the round, so it's been moved.
A lot of damage peppered up onto Enzo. And all for the info that there's a player around mid. Well, I kind of got that from the shooting, to be honest. A big damage done. They still need to find one of these players. And weed them out of their position. Lockdown on A, presence being made, Starzo stepping around. They know they're making noise here. They're dragging rotations. That's exactly what they want. But Zeke, he's gone. Oh, 9 HP. Okay.
Headshot it, of course he does.
30 seconds
Dirk is
left.
just too clean. And again, they haven't really taken much ground at all. Still within the sight is Boaster. They'll force him off, but this is exactly what happened last time. The wraparound might make a difference, but no. Still just struggling. Finally, they get those entries into the site. And now, well, one of the best chances we've seen for Ascend in a while.
Yeah, this is looking like it could be round number 5 secured. Vac and Starzo, well, Vac mainly very low HP. On the way back through here, FNATIC have got a ton of potential. Alpha Air might be caught. Enzo certainly is. Recon up and above. It's destroyed immediately. The flank underway. CNET's got the op, though. Making the noise, giving it away. Good shot. Another player down below, spotted out. Good kill by Durka. They've got it. They've actually found their way back into that one. Durka with a headhunter in his hands was picking them off. And Alpha Air good to trade it out in the end.
Last round.
Wow, that was one of the best chances for Ascend, Tom, but same result.
I think if anybody ever needed to make an argument as to why this agent should be nerfed again, this is it. Just send them some gameplay of Durka playing Chamber. It's just utter filth. Or just send them the gameplay of Starzo playing an Icebox. That's also just nasty, but they're just struggling so much to deal with him individually. 13 and 5, Alpha are up there with him, and there hasn't been a poor performer on the FNATIC squad, and on a defensive half, that's all you really need.
Played out straight away, both sides, but Dirk has actually managed to sneak his way into wine. He's in position here. He can TP back out, and he's got the tour de force. That's the big difference, though. He can swing out, take the kill, and not get out of there. Oh, instantaneous response from Starzo! Anime! It's just anime plays. Like, what? He's just dashing all over the place, updrafting, spinning around, other players peeking out. That was unbelievable. They've got the sight on the back of that, and maybe they don't. That's a spike down.
Oh, a cheeky play from Alpha. Something we don't see often is him playing with an operator. Maybe we should. He picks off CNET as well. Monster will find the trade. There's another player just around that corner, but with utility in hand, can't really do anything. Nightfall is going to give away these positions as well. Starzo, you're not as sneaky as you might think you are. And now the last player, Monster, it's going to be all Alfire. You finally kill the boss, and well, it turns out you're only halfway through because Alfire is there to close it.
This guy had a little bit of a slow start compared to what we're used to seeing, but when it had been this dominant of a quarter, let's say, he wasn't really needed. Finally, Ascend start to step it up, and Alfire goes, oh, you want to play? All right.
Their team is literally like, you've got Durka, who's like, you go into the boss fight of a game, and you're like, oh my god, this guy was so difficult. You like grind and grind and grind. You finally beat him, and then it goes stage 2, and Alfire just picks up the operator and just kills you instantly. You're like, oh, so I didn't even get close. I didn't even get close to beating this. Their team is.
Oh, you said you haven't played Elden Ring. What's going on? Gotta get you on that. Sounds like it's right up your alley. The oh, hold on, this blade's gonna catch both on short. They know that there's at least one close. Do they suspect another? Yes, and they've taken CNET down. Back. Look for one somehow reloading, getting out of there, going back in to fight again. But Dirk has shot him through like 7 feet of concrete. All right.
Oh my god. Hey Riot, do you think this gun might be a little bit strong?
No, to be fair, it does cost quite a lot. You know, 100 credits per bullet. I don't know that that's affordable.
If he had hit that one, I would have messaged Zil and told him to report him in game, because he was full on running just to try and get that final kill. Utter filth once again, and now while this pistol is all but done, Monster once more trying to clutch out a rough spot to say the least. Like, just hear the sound cues. At least one will go his way, but yeah, Durka with the 4K. Been unbelievable all the way through this season, and it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. 18 and 6.
Yeah, so you might think Alfire died because you know, he was greedy or anything like that. But no, actually, what happened here is, or it was Boaster, sorry. He wanted the ult orb, you know, so he sacrificed himself to Monster because he couldn't get the kill. He needed Durka to get the kill, so he'd have another ult orb. So, you know, a really nice, really selfless guy, that Boaster. Now they're 2 orbs, Dom. 2 orbs of the From the Shadows. I mean, FNATIC it's like building Exodia.
Yeah. But I'm just kind of be bothered to try and respond to that one.
That's fair.
9-4. We're seeing a bit of investment coming through from Ascend. We know how deadly they can be with the pistols. CNED with this Marshal or Operator, as you could call it, when it's in his hands.
And around like this as well, nobody has any shields, so. Or of course, CNED.
Yeah.
What am I talking about?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying he's going to hit the headshots. That's what I'm.
That is true.
That's what I'm leaning towards. Then it doesn't matter
We'll see.
what sort of shields
He's in
they've
market behind the smoke. That's a tough spot to play from. He's
far
close.
away.
Both of those shots are close, if not tagging.
That recon got so many people. Nice shot from Zeke, but just death-balling into the site. Marstazo, yeah, I'm not going to claim the range on this gun is going to be... Yeah, I can understand the smoke. He needs to get nice and close.
Oh, Durka, no. Oh, Durka, no.
Durka will kill him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that works. It's one way to deal with him, I guess.
How do you defeat the shorty in a smoke? Durka, that's how.
I love that he went close as well. Just get right up in his face. He had the promise. He's like, "Oh, I hear those steps. I'm gonna get a shorty kill." No, you're not. 10-4, like strong, really, really strong position for FNATIC to play from. And if you're Ascend right now, losing this round is time to look at Icebox, you know. But FNATIC's map pick is Icebox. That's not where you want to be holding on to it. This has got to be almost flawless play from this point forward.
Yeah, they are very good defensively on this map, especially once they get the Operator in play. The problem is, if they don't win this round, they'll never get the Operator in play. Unless they're just going to basically save until the very last round, but even then, doesn't guarantee anything. Not close to a Bladestorm or anything like that either, so it's not like he can take a hit in the next round. They desperately need this win, and they should get it. The weaponry on the other side is not particularly strong. Spectres, Marshal, a pistol for Mystic. Okay, maybe it wasn't a Spectre. Maybe it just looks like a Spectre when it's in Alpha's hands, but it got him down pretty damn low. And now they're just going to execute off this, or it seemed like they would, but they've been stopped.
Yeah, they've been delayed a little bit, and that's when Alpha comes into play. He's already caught one. The TP out's actually going to be safe. Down goes Zeke. Another kill for FNATIC. They close in on the side stars, though low HP. Oh, no, the wall getting in the way.
Where's that going? He's just going in alone. That's madness. Like, his teammate up above, the other one locked out behind the door, and Vac decides to drop into the site, play the close range, when they have the beneficial weapons. The remaining is so low as well. It doesn't even matter what guns they have. CNED needs instant headshots, and it's Enzo who's going to close it with a triple. Some weird decision-making in that round from Ascend, and I don't know, like, some of this looked like last-ditch efforts. Like, I need to be the hero here, and when you have a better buy, that shouldn't be your mindset.
You can maybe see it being like the breaking point mentally for the team in a pause. I'll say that's Ascend's pause. You're surprised that FNATIC are calling for one at this point, and there you go. Especially after how that round played out, I think this is just the tightening of the leashes all around. The team needs to be cyber-focused to have even a remote shot at putting up any kind of resistance. 11-4 down with the way FNATIC have been rolling, and with the fact that this is an eco for Ascend, or if they decide to force up, a very, very bad buy. Best case scenario surely is OT, and even that requires 8 straight rounds after this.
But this is the thing, like, I want to put into perspective. For FNATIC, they've already beaten FPX, so I would say is the biggest threat in the group from what we've seen so far for them. They played against Oglu. Okay, that doesn't matter. The Oglu not really in a spot to qualify unless they pull off a miracle run. Ascend on the other side have played Focus alongside that. So their next game is G2 Wounded, which, okay, there's going to be people out there going, but Tom, G2 haven't looked very good. G2, when they're about to be eliminated, are one of the scariest teams. It just happens every single time because Nuke decides he doesn't want to be eliminated and would like to qualify.
Time for a field test.
And then they've also got, what, FPX? Like, Ascend want to be putting up a real fight in this game because, as I said, so far, this is the biggest test they've had, and, well, they're failing it.
Yeah, the issues have been glaring on this map. And it's just not what you expect when you take into consideration Ascend pick this, how good Ascend normally look. Not even on this map. Let's just talk in general. This doesn't look like the same team. And I'm almost certain it's a hiccup. Next map, I think we see a completely different team. But the question is, can they make that turnaround now after the pause? And again, in this round, the answer should be no. But in the next, it's going to be put to the test for sure. That dash is being activated by CNED. He's ready. And that's a kill for free. He's not going to get out, though.
When it would have needed another dash, probably, to be able to get out of that scenario. Oh, the flank from Monster, decent, but he doesn't get anything from it. Paranoia going to leave them blind, but nobody really able to peek off of it. Unfortunately, okay, Zeke. Just about going to get away with one. These trades are not bad in a round like this, but winning it going to be much tougher. They need something from VAC from within the site. I don't know even if they expect him to be here. It's taken some time to clear him out. Pop flash right into his face. He couldn't be more blind. And while he was hoping for the timing pick, and in the meantime, Dirk just mopped up everyone else.
Just another clean, I mean, set of rounds from FNATIC. It's just been streak after streak of them. And then you look at what Ascend have got to work with coming into this final round. We can't even talk about ultimates in a positive light, because they're just not close enough to ones that really matter, that really make a difference. They're going to need some kills to mount up if they're to have a chance. And, well, FNATIC, they've got plenty to play with. And we're going to start with all rifles in play. A knife up and over, landing on top of A, indestructible. And that's going to cause some problems. These players being revealed, but Monster's not deterred. He is staying aggressive. Tucked right below this smoke. That boombot that comes forward, that's going to reveal him. So he's decided, yeah, right call just to back up.
Still taking space slowly. FNATIC not really rushing things here. Very aware of potential of the operator, but I think he might actually catch one. Is Boaster going to be ready for this angle over the top of the smoke? Timing! He's got pass! It's going to be Alpha! No! No, he unscopes! Oh, there was basically a free kill guaranteed, and instead, they've fallen for it. And also, now you see that switch come back up. Can CNED do anything else? He's going to retrieve his operator instead, TP back into the site, as they will be able to get the spike down. There were so many opportunities for CNED to basically ruin this round for FNATIC, and now they have an afterplant.
It's rare to see CNED with a hiccup like that. Good flash through. That's the pressure applied, but CNED delivers, looking to make up for mistakes of earlier on. He's got a chance to up close here. Boaster still surviving and, well, thriving. A triple with Zeke falling after time, and, well, 13-4 we go. Tom, that was a dominant display from FNATIC. Not the game that I expected to see coming into it. And, well, I'm looking for hope now on Icebox, and I didn't expect to be needing Ascend to perform here. This is unreal, because it's not just the fact that they've lost the map. 13-4 just seems unbelievable.
Yeah, now 13-4 from Oglu doesn't seem anywhere near as bad, but luckily for us, Mitch, we don't have to explain any of this. There are 3 wonderful people back at the desk who are going to enjoy doing that for us.
Welcome back, friends, and I don't know how to really properly explain this, but FNATIC's tweet, so far, it's coming to fruition, and it's coming to life. First map, not just going to FNATIC, but absolutely rolling over Ascend. Let's try to break it all down here on the analyst desk. Kakuka, please help me out.
Okay, so the map starts, okay, and we see ACEND taking 4 rounds in a row, and I'm like, okay, this is looking good. They're on the attack. Holy, like, I'm very surprised. And then FNATIC decides that no, it's not going to work that way, and take the next 13 rounds in a row. Not a single moment for ACEND to even think of anything. And I think that is probably what gave ACEND those 4 rounds. The fast executes, not leaving anything, not leaving the gaps, and just going on the hunt. But FNATIC quickly adapted onto that. Great performances, great utility usage to make sure that it was ACEND feeling uncomfortable at the end of the day.
I feel like everything just was well mixed by FNATIC because they had some good personal performances from every single player. Then we had great utility combos between the Fade and the Raze, something that we didn't see from other teams, even though there were possibilities of that happening. And we also have seen the perfect, let's say, lack of response, because ACEND was not learning from what they have been seeing from FNATIC, and they didn't apply like a different playstyle because they were being punished by the utility. So FNATIC was just running away with rounds after round after round because they did repeat what was effective for them.
Yeah, we saw, for example, 2 rounds in a row where Boaster is just assaulted there on the side, and he literally repeats the same movements, knowing that his teammates are going to repeat the same formula that gave them the round on the previous. The fast rotations on every single part of the map, and a sense inability to actually turn it around.
There was also a very strict set of protocols for FNATIC when it comes to defense, because you can see it both from Boaster on A side and on B side when Alpha had or Enzo had the same situation. The main point is not to die. You need to buy time for your teammates to rotate to your side, and that was happening all the time.
And you said, both of you, that all of FNATIC performed together as a team. Well, Dirk and Enzo actually performed even better than what you would expect.
Yeah, first of all, from Dirk, I think it's as disgusting as always, because on the first week that when we saw him picking up the chamber, he was like, I actually like this a lot. I'm having a lot of fun with the operator, and I'm going to keep getting better and better. And that is exactly what he gave us. And for the side of Enzo, I completely agree. The utility usage that we saw from week 2 to this, sorry, from week 1 when they played against FPX to this one has improved so much. We were highlighting how some of his teammates did not follow on to what phase utility can give you, but on this one, it was flawless.
Like when you compare Big with the Fade utility usage today, and then you have Enzo with the utility usage, it's like night and day. There was brutality on FNATIC's side because they just cascade on the utility usage from Fade, while Big was just using it for faking.
Brutality. I missed that. It's a good thing you remind me of it. We were having a quick chat yesterday, but you're being called to the lab. Lothar.
And then when it comes to Fade, I just wanted to show you guys something, because there are very neat small pieces of utility that gain huge advantage. So nothing complicated, but rather the raw power of Fade when you cascade on it, as I said before. We're gonna take round 10 from FNATIC, retake 3v3. And you can see that Enzo has both Seize and the Hunt at his disposal. So we're gonna play the clip, and now 3 players are taking the space from Heaven. So what is the main response from the ACEND here, right? You expect the Hound to being used. This is why you see Vak do this movement that he's following the utility, because he thinks, oh, this is a Hunt. He sees it's a Seize instead. So he's now in the safe place. Oh, they don't have the eye right now, I'm gonna just now hold Heaven. But instead, the eye is being used before the players are going through the smoke. But it's in this crucial moment. Look where the eye lands, and look what it does. It's actually unreal how much value does this one piece of utility gather, because it gets all the players here in Garden, on site in behind the generator, and the player next to Heaven, and all of those players are now exposed. Every single piece of utility just works perfectly, and the players cascade on that. Now let's go to pistol round. It's literally the same eye, but it's used on attack instead of retaking from Heaven. And the players look at the A side, A main, the eye is being used right now, exposing 2 players on short, and because this eye also exposes the entire side, we're gonna rewind here, look at the minimap. We're gonna zoom it in. Entire side is now being cleared. Only players on short are now visible, and the players from A main can just push and go here. And during the exec, it's gonna be the same. And Killjoy here on the Jenny, she's not gonna reply to it, even though those rounds are round after round where the same eye is just gathering informations all the time. And ACEND, as I said before, they just didn't learn from all of that utility that Enzo was using to counter it. And so far in this game, 17 assists were being done by
That's
Enzo.
insane.
Wow.
That's completely insane. He definitely learned a lot from that matchup that they got against FPX, because that was also one that Xiao was using a lot. And definitely the fact that it's not only that ACEND does not have a response, it's like they literally have no time. It's so perfectly timed that they are going to rush the utility, and you know that if you step for one side and go kill it, you're dead.
Yeah, well, you have to make a choice, right? There's this eye, there are the players
It's
here,
death and death.
or there's a paint shell
It's
here.
Dirk or Alpha. You choose.
Yeah, you have to be really, really efficient in your movement and decision-making to stop and execute like that.
Well, FNATIC are gunning for another 5-0. They've already done it in one stage. Can they do it again here in stage 2? And for that today, they've already proven one map. Can they do the second and take it all 2-0? That'll be Icebox, a map that we know FNATIC are very comfortable on. So, Kukuka, what happens here?
So the thing is, if you weren't here last week, I am very sorry for you, because you missed, as you said, FNATIC performing a 13-0 onto Oglu. The same map, that ACEND had against Oglu. They decided to play on this map. There's something very characteristic about ACEND, and is that they decide to go with Reyna. So I feel like, yeah, I know that you love that. I'm so happy that we get Lothar here to talk about the Reyna. I don't know how this one is going to work for ACEND, because based on what we just saw from FNATIC, I am extremely scared.
Well, it's most likely gonna be the same composition from FNATIC that we've seen before. So the Chamber, no Jet, right? Chamber, Killjoy, Vipers, Sage, and Sova. So a very standard composition, just instead of the Jet that got nerfed to the ground. Well, I don't want to say to the ground, but nerfed heavily. Now we have the Chamber instead, because this is one of those maps that doesn't require to play Jet to gather the space on the attack. So now it's going to be very efficient on defense, because FNATIC has many great setups to stop the plant from happening, and now they have one additional trap.
Yeah, for ACEND is going to be having to push onto, and they're going to find Alpha on the other side, and there's not going to be any weaknesses that are going to be easily exploited by them. But they knew that they were going to end up here, so I expect some preparation.
How do they break it? Honestly, after looking at that first map, FNATIC just looked infallible.
Somehow, Starkso has to diff Durkee on the Chamber. He was performing beautifully last week, but the opponent is not the same, and CNET has to follow on that one. We need a bigger performance coming in from back. He was completely absent last week and today on today's first map.
Well, if CNET is going to play on Reyna, there's even more burdens on his shoulders, because now he's going to have to perform in this match, because the only value that you will get out of Reyna is if you get kills. If you don't get kills, then the entire character doesn't deliver anything for the team, right? So insane pressure on CNET to perform on Icebox here.
Who else has to kind of sit there and support him? You talked about Vac. Anybody else? We go into Agent Select, so please carry us through, Kaguka.
Well, we expect Vipers from both the sides, something that we're fairly seeing here. As we were mentioning, the Reyna is going to be the set piece coming in from ACEND most likely. Maybe we see some of the changes, knowing that they're going to face up against FNATIC. And
Think so?
No. I mean, they were pretty I think that Vac said on an interview, we still don't know what piece to put here. I don't think that they had the time to find it just yet.
Well, we'll see. There's Zeke is on KO.
Also playing without a Sage, so the plant is going to be even more complicated.
Yeah, it's gonna be very tough to plant for ACEND without getting kills before you got to the site, right? Because you can't just wall off the B side and just plant happily, because there's the Nanoswarm, there's the Snakebite, there are the Shock Darts. All of those can just literally kill the planter, especially when combined.
So the thing is, the Reyna surprises you the first week, you know, and whatever the team is on the other side, they're going to be like, oh my, they're playing Reyna. How do we adapt to this? But FNATIC has the reps. They know how ACEND has been playing this map, what their strengths are, and what they can do to prevent that plan from happening. And they have a lot themselves to play for the post plan, so they should have an easy time if, as Lothar says, CNET does not manage to find the kills.
Well, there's some value out of the Reyna that you can get. The Leers are a great response to the Sova drone, because the Sova is a lingering effect, and so is the Leer. So when you push the Leer, and the drone is essentially useless unless someone shoots the Leer, because of course you can just destroy it.
Oh well, questions to be answered in game. Can FNATIC take this through and continue rolling on ACEND, or will we actually go to map 3? That's to figure out in game to casters.
Well, we've certainly got a lot to figure out here, don't we, Tom? In particular, you had to figure out how to turn your camera on, but
Yeah.
it seems like you've gotten.
I don't like people watching me eat, you know. Like it's. I know some people enjoy that. I know our producers like. So I was like, I don't want to give that to him. So either way,
That's fair.
We are
That's
going to be
fair.
getting into the game, which is much more important. And I think it's quite interesting because obviously you've got the idea that like. I think it's actually the attack chosen by ACEND. Now, when we saw them play previously, one of the things I really wanted to hammer home is that this comp looks like it will work wonderfully on the defense and on attack, as it was said on the desk. It's going to be difficult to get into afterplants without getting those opening kills. So to choose to start on the attack is interesting. Maybe there's something that they've pinpointed that they can break down, or they're just looking for that streak of comeback. Either that, or they did see FNATIC get 12 rounds in a row last time on the attack and went, yeah, let's see what the defense is like instead.
We've spoken many times about how a lot of teams prefer, a lot of teams in other games prefer to start attack side. Never really been a thing in Valorant so much, certainly nowhere near the level of popularity, but controlling the pace, getting the more difficult task out of the way early. I don't know. There's a ton of angles for it. We'll see if it pays off for ACEND this time around. Zeke's very close and he's been revealed. Now he's in trouble. Everybody's swinging to take him down one by one, though. So he's able to at least pick off one before going down.
Yeah, no, a pretty good spot for ACEND straight off the pistol. Interested as well by, as Boaster just timed out, or is he just waiting for exits at this point? He's so far away, it just looks like he's taking a ridiculous fight. The frenzy, like, basically they've just given up on this round, and Alpha is like, right, boss, don't worry, I'm gonna win this. He's like, yeah, you keep fighting, I'm definitely on my way.
Oh, that time might be a little bit too far gone for Boaster to have a shot, plus a few too many players. 1-0. ACEND picking themselves up the Pistola. Now, following on from that, I'm seeing rifles already. CNED and Zeke picking those up. You know, CNED picking a rifle here is fantastic. He's got light shields to play with. You'll be able to heal up after a kill, get yourself full. Starzo's doing the same. This is a strong buy. First of all, I appreciate the fact that it's symmetrical. The Bulldog perfectly cutting into the Spectres and the weapons, although I suppose it's rifles. Phantom and Vandal are acceptable. They're interchangeable. It's okay. I do like it, though. 2 rifles and a Bulldog to play with is a really strong round. Obviously, they've gotten rid of the Bulldog now, playing with a pistol instead, but that probably makes even more sense because now it allows you to even lose a player and still not have those credits left on the floor.
Yeah, and I think, as said, they have to be fairly aggressive with this composition, so it's one of those things where realistically they don't mind too much if like Vac hangs out in the back and the other players are the ones just farming up the kills. It also leans into the ultimates you want to get up, but they've still managed to take a couple of kills here on FNATIC. Not something they're going to be too unhappy about, getting those ultimate orbs available. And while for CNED, just try to pop a few heads along the way. Not much Mystic can realistically do here. He does manage to pick himself up a gun, hoping to get 1 kill, but I don't think it's happening.
So Monster saves his shields. I do wonder about Starzo and CNED, though, with 25 HP added on top of their base. I feel like they're probably going to want to have the full shields to work with, but then it's that extra 1k, you know? Most players are playing with Vandals on this map as well, so maybe you can get away with it. Kind of a tough decision to make, but especially for CNED because he can heal, but you get 1 shot by Phantom. You'll be pretty annoyed with yourself. You can see they're going towards the B side as well, and this is going to be Boaster, Phantom in hand, looking to challenge. Although challenge is maybe a little bit ambitious, it seems like he's just falling back.
Yeah, they're putting instant pressure here. One of the things that is always going to be difficult is firstly shutting down Durka, but they did that in the early rounds, and while if you could wipe out Boaster instantly, that's any utility that they had gone as well. This is a real troublesome spot, because as I said, it's difficult to get into these afterplots. They've done it with relative ease.
Yeah, with good control over the back as well. That trap that they've got down is going to secure them for pretty much the rest of the round. No flank possibility for FNATIC. They've got to take heads on fights. That's perfect for ACEND and what they're looking for. running down the clock as much as they can. You can hear, well, I hope you can, the spike ticking away in the background. And so we'll have the Hunter's Fury used to delay even further, guaranteeing nobody's taking that. They actually put down a snake bite as well, so it was free frags for anybody standing near that. Fought on the back of it, and they've obtained all the space they could possibly want, hope, and dream of. That is a third round for Ascend locked in.
Yeah, and it just seems like at the moment, at least, Fnatic are really struggling with the pacing. Unable to get their superstars into position. Just an easy isolation of Boaster very early on, and seen it off to a flying start as well. And that's the thing. The reason they managed to win this map the last time it was played was because CNED and Starzo were unbelievable. Like, they were just running around the map, destroying everybody. I think both of them ended up with 20+ kills within the game. Yeah, it was 27 and 22. They were Starzo 7-1 in opening duels. It wasn't like a ridiculous team performance with all these cool little setups. They just had the firepower to get it over the line and the confidence to just take these aggressive peaks. Now waiting on the side here, well, again, but actually Durka manages to take out Monster in response. It looked like it was going to be an easy couple of kills, but it's actually a 1-for-1 trade.
Fnatic's response seems to be to give up the majority of A control. They want to skirmish around middle, perhaps. Seen a lot of focus, a lot of eyes around this area.
There.
And yeah, the drone coming out. It's going to be a B play, but Fnatic's mid attack has finally come through. They've grabbed a weapon, walled it off. That's great security for them now, able to fully focus forward like we discussed before, and that leads to the spike being dropped. Damage on the way back, snakebite down. Nobody can even retrieve that spike just yet, but they have managed to trade it out for Mystic's life. A worthwhile trade for them in this scenario. They still need to get that spike down.
Oh, nice shot from Durka. They've got the reveal as well, so the next peak is even easier. And although the spike is down, it's left onto Starzo. An attempt being made to try and clutch this one out. Push coming through, and while it's Durka to close it, it will be a first round on the board. And just like the last, it's going to be an early start for Ascend, but will we see the same sort of resurgence from Fnatic?
Oh, that's at least the first found. And now I reckon you're probably going to see Durka pull out that tour de force. He's got a rifle to possibly drop over to one of his teammates, pull that out, and things can look absolutely fantastic. Thanks to all these kills he was farming up. And yeah, I see no weapon in his... Well, I still see no weapon in his hand. And he's got his ult online, so tour de force incoming.
See, Loth is going, yes, but if you bind these two together,
the Lich hasn't heard about the bind.
Actually, the Stinger is the best gun in the game. Don't worry, he'll
the
send you a video.
Force? Why is he using that when he can just use the double bind? I know we're gonna have angry messages from Lothar now, but it is what it is. Maybe he's grabbing his lunch, misses this round. I'm kidding. Lothar's a machine. He does not miss a round. Here we go. Oh, tags up, but no kills for Durka. Tour de force. Maybe the Stinger would have been more effective. It wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Either way, again, this A-side take has worked out. After plant in, shock dart, not really going to do anything in terms of damage. Drone will try and clear out some of these closer positions, and the flank has already been spotted by Starzo. Nobody going in that direction. It's all 5 members of Fnatic trying to entry from the same spot.
2 bullets in the tour de force on the way back through. Having a TP out immediately, but his teammates are trading on the back of that space. They were swinging to take him down and ran into the rest of the team instead. Tour de force still with those 2 shots, 3 victims to look for, to seek out, to try to find the Stinger. Grabs one, but it can't take Monster down. And so Ascend, they answer right back up with a round of their own, 4-1, as the lead extends and Fnatic are left in the dust, Tom. They've got no money to invest into this round.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if there'll have to be an adaptation, because this is now a few times they've attempted to play retake on this A site and it hasn't worked. They haven't been able to get back in. They haven't been able to trade effectively enough, and Ascend have just done their job of basically back and forth, making sure that every single player is in position to get those trade frags. So you almost need to have a little bit more aggression on that side of the map. Also, to point out, Lothar has messaged, and he said, actually, because of him, they fixed the double bind, so we can't even meme about that anymore. So the gun is actual trash. Thank you for confirming.
No. You can get in a rhythm. Yeah, the rhythm of right click, left click. Bind was just cheating the skill. While Moster's being spotted and dealt with just as quickly. Good space seized by ACEND, and they don't need to get too aggressive now, realistically, up against the pistols here. Better to just secure this with all 5 alive, build up some economy.
Yeah, you say that. I think they're leaving CNED behind.
Yeah.
Enzo is still here, but what can he really do against 4 players? And while CNED should die here. Well, there you go. Mystic will at least get himself a gun. Might just want to keep that into the next round. Althea left with a Marshall and no real reason for the remaining players to peek over aggress, but they are starting to build up a bit of a bank. They might just want to try and remove that remaining gun.
Oh, well. 5 HP on Mystic.
They've got res.
Reckon he might save. No, surely not. They're going for this? The drop down from Althea are upgraded to a weapon. He's making it costly for sure, and he'll go down in the end, but all right. Decent 3 kills out of that round for FNATIC, 5-1. But it all means nothing unless they can find the win here. You know, they've stopped ACEND from building up too many credits of a lead and too much of a stockpile, but that's going to be unavoidable if they don't manage to pick this one up. And they've got 4 ultis, but
well, yeah, there's 8 ultimates currently available in this round. Now, I will say maybe 1 or 2 that probably not going to be the most impactful, more reactive in those sort of scenarios. Empress being the one that springs to mind the most, but plenty of damage dealing abilities available. Zeke, he's just running and gunning, going straight through. They've been caught, and Alpha, yeah, is actually running in behind. He doesn't realize there's another player behind him, but Starzo's then been caught by Enzo as well. A fast-paced take. I like the idea, switching things up as they go into the buy round, but it hasn't worked out for them. Now it's left onto Vac and, well, the man himself.
Little cheeky bit of damage on the Boaster. Here comes the drone. Backing out now. Trying to bait them into a swing so CNED can grab a frag and dismissed out of there for free, but instead they've ended up losing back to the flank and CNED falls right after. 2 on the board for FNATIC. Second round, but they got to keep it coming. And as we said, ACEND have got that little bit of a build-up that they're not too worried. I think CNED has ult coming out of this round, but not money to buy a rifle. So that could be a little bit shaky. He's been dropped a rifle, so that'll do it. Oh, of course, because Starzo's got his ulti. Man,
yeah.
That sort of force is crazy.
Well, the thing is as well, they haven't actually quelled the A take yet. And I think that's the thing that worries me a bit for FNATIC is, okay, they managed to win this round. What was a very aggressive play from ACEND, an attempt to play through mid, something you're not going to see teams do with that much pace too regularly. Their actual default executions, though, they've been pretty damn good. So they'll go back to this slower pace, waiting to see if there's any sort of aggression out, still leaving the spike on the A side of the map, and I would assume there's going to be some sort of fallback in either direction. But with how deep they're getting into B, and again, this retake just being played by FNATIC, they might be able to get onto the site without too many issues.
Yeah, well, a minute left on the clock. ACEND are backing off, going towards this A site. I don't think they'll get in here without any issues. That's unless this fake works out. Already 1 player's rotating. FNATIC sending Enzo over towards middle. Now moving a little bit further towards the B site. But now they've lost Durka. They're realizing, hold on. This isn't actually a straight up B take. In fact, there's a little bit more complexity to it. The A site's now lost and it's a 5v3.
Lockdown, they're throwing everything at this one. Enzo does at least manage to find one with a shot dart, but they're already going to back out of there. Empress popped as well. It seems like this is a round full of ultimates, and the winner of it is going to get themselves into a much better spot already. The defuse is going to be halved. He might be able to just stick this all the way, but no. He goes down and it's left onto Alpha. They still expect someone to be on it. It won't matter. Headshot for Zeke, a 6th for Ascend. And every time Fnatic get around, they break straight back.
Fantastic post plant coming in by Monster. I love the fact that he's not afraid to take some of these fights after he's popped down that utility. You know, he's joining the pack immediately after sending in that's the last snake fight. And he's saying, okay, I'm with my team now. I'm taking fights. I'm trading. Pacing was really good. You know, typically if you got a player towards belt, firing those off, not going to be able to get up with the rest of your team all that quickly. And Fnatic caught off by the pace of the blitz back in. Ascend are 6-2, and I loved how they played that round as well. I mean, the fake was clear. It was strong, pulling off all of their attention and leaving the players on the site unaware that they were about to be pushed.
I think they've also done quite well in shutting down Durka, because I think it was even Starzo after the last game just tweeted Durka, and it's like, yeah, you know, fair enough. They're not really much you could do in the last map, but he's been caught out a couple of times in aggressive positions because they need it to be there. They can't allow this A site to just fall by the wayside, and Ascend actually play into it by selling a little bit of a fake, as you said, and then going back to the old faithful, because their after plants on that A site have been superb. And as said, that's what this composition really shines at, is if you get into what I would call a more defensive position where you have some of those star players just able to pop off, that's where this team is devastating. It was just getting into those spots that should have been difficult, but thus far it really hasn't been.
Enemy suppressed.
Well, that's a problem. They're straight away able to pop off and take CNED. That's denying any A main control and making this take a lot more two-dimensional. Now, Fnatic don't yet know that it's a B take, but getting in onto this site should be pretty easy because of that. Essentially, you've got Boaster, who can't really overextend into this fight. He's just going to look to... Oh, that... I don't even blame him for that. That was unlucky.
Oh, well, from one misplay to... Oh, a fantastic shot from Alpha. Yeah, now Enzo's caught another. Just able to pop heads one by one. Giving an opportunity here still, though, for Ascend. They've got themselves the Viper's Pit. The counter obviously gone, and the Rare's going to be there to bring back Boaster. They might actually just use it straight away just to make sure that both teams are struggling within the Viper's Pit, but instead just running straight through, trying to get onto the spike.
Zeke, well, he can't even get back inside of the pit. Tries to flash in and just gets destroyed from back yellow. Third on the board for Fnatic. 4 players surviving. Am I out of my mind, or did Boaster just defuse that when he already had his ult? Or was the hood ahead?
No, he definitely did have the ult because he had it going into the retake as well. That's one of the reasons I thought they rezzed him specifically, is that he will have that ultimate online already to be used.
Am I dumb? He did defuse it, didn't he?
I know Durka was defusing. I won't lie, I wasn't paying attention to see if they swapped.
I'm pretty sure he stopped and Boaster, because when he stopped, I looked to go, oh, I wonder who they're giving the orb to, and it was Boaster. It's like, what?
Monster go.
Well, that was strange.
He's already playing around in his orb. This is something they've attempted a couple of times, but it's had very limited success. And in fact, a very interesting Viper's Pit going down on the other side, almost just trying to lock down the site. Normally you see this much, much deeper on B so that you don't actually allow them the control. They've even got an alarm bot on the edge of it, so that if anybody tries to sneak through the gap, they're going to be notified of that position. This is intriguing. I don't know if it'll work, but we'll soon find out.
Well, you know what? Boaster's double or overcharged that ultimate, I suppose. Let's see if it does double damage now with the extra power. The decay underway for CNED. He's quite low on the way through. Flash in, not going to catch him at all. But they've heard him. They know where he is. They'll seek him out. Snakebite no longer able to put down, but CNED's gone. Only the one bullet needed. He was so low. The decay doing its job. And allowing them to get back in towards this site, but not where they've planted. Look at that deep plant.
Yeah, it had to be somewhere audacious. They've actually got a wall ready for it, though. You're going to see the Hunter's Fury pop from a very unorthodox position. Not something you see too much, but Boaster doesn't manage to connect. Now their shield has been deflated, and they're actually sectioned between two different offenders on the other side. Starzo not going to be able to get anything, though, and it's left all onto Zeke. Just trying to stick this one through, but he's found two in quick succession. It's left to Durka, and he'll just be able to get things over the line. A cool setup from FNATIC, but ACEND still almost make that one work.
Well, I can't help but feel like I have to give some credit to Mini for that one. You know, watching over Durka from behind, you can see he gave him the confidence to go out for that swing and take the kills. So, incredible. A really nice attempt by Zeke, though. You could see how he was sitting there realizing, okay, I've got to play this one fight at a time. There's no other way. You can't just swing out, try to deny this defuse. It was systematic. It was very well done, but Durka gets the better of him. 4 rounds for FNATIC. The defense building up a little bit of momentum. We'll see if it can carry on.
Yeah, a cool setup. Definitely something to be explored as well. Like, I like the idea of the Viper's Pit, the fact that they knew all the flaws in their own setup as well. But this is where that pace on towards the A side. They've had troubles with it so far. Of course, the weaponry much weaker this time for ACEND, but, well, it is ACEND.
Out of charges.
Oh, yes. CNED with the Sheriff.
Is he good with it?
He's all right, actually, to be honest. Oh, Monster, maybe not so much. A little missed shot there for Alpha here. Flash coming through from Zeke. He's 8 HP. He's got to do his best to help out in some of these fights. And, oh, he's done just that. CNED good for 1 before going down. A little bit more damage won't really matter, considering this is a...
Was that through the... Did he just spam the wall? Was Alpha's kill just wall spam?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure it was a wall bang, but I just want to know if he shot the corner or if he shot just the actual wall. Look where he is. Oh no, it was just the corner. I thought for a second he'd just done it straight through the back wall, which it's possible, but that would have been insane. Thank you, Mr. Replay.
Yeah, ask and you shall receive. Well, final round on the half, and FNATIC are looking to take it across the line with 6-6. I don't know if that's how it works, Tom.
You said
it was more, well, yeah, but it was in a specific genre.
Oh.
You know, you can't ask for exotic animals, for example.
Penguin.
I think that falls under the umbrella that I just clearly stated, so I feel like you're not trying very hard here, Tom. Big play in towards B, and Zeke is running it down. Now he's down on the floor, and they're gonna look to revive him, but they can't. It's a firing squad into the meat grinder. Everybody falls, and 6-6. We are tied up at the half. An impressive recovery coming out of FNATIC.
Yeah, I don't think either side are going to be too unhappy with that as well. Like, I think FNATIC will be unhappy with the start, and obviously on the other side, ACEND will probably be disappointed they didn't get more, but going in at a 6-6 is absolutely fine. I still rate the defensive side of this ACEND composition quite a bit more. The chances for both Starzo and CNED to get that little bit more aggressive, have a lot less risk in the duels they take. And on the other side, well, need I say, last time FNATIC got 12 rounds in the attack, so they were feeling very confident in that attacking side. Even still, though, definitely a lot closer than the last map, and, well, this pistol could easily be a difference maker.
Well, for sure. Give one of the teams that little bit of a leg up. ACEND's defense starts here, and, well, this is what we've been hoping would be a difference maker.
That's a good spot.
See if that's the case. Already a closer game than what we saw before. Starzo coming out on mid with a headhunter in hand.
I think he knows that this is bait. I think he knows it's bait, but still has the confidence to fight into it anyway, and then realizes Durka's on the other side, and he goes, nah.
Deploying drone.
The drone has to be committed now. Grab that little bit of extra info. The clock burns. Monster set to take a peek. The rest of the team posturing for A. This is going to be a split through spawn by the looks of it. They can go right past with this orb. The steps are heard. Monster's creeping through, but look who's behind. Boaster The timing here going to be key, and he's got him. At least able to trade out, keep the numbers in their favor. Spike in their control, and all these players, they're making noise, but look who's still on the site. Cena needs to clear out Alpha Air here, but actually Alpha Air, he shot off at just the wrong moment, gave away his position, and so we'll end up in a 3v2 retake. No kills for Cena just yet, but he's going right back out.
Yeah, he's going to be cheeky with it. Trying to get a little bit more aggressive, but he's shot down by the youngster. And now it's left onto Starzo. 3 bullets left in the Headhunter. 3 players left to find. It's a tall ask, even going to look for a slight upgrade on the pistol, maybe not believing it himself. I don't really blame him for that. And it's not even going to be the one. Alpha Air is there to double up. Even, you know, a few tactical crouches in there. He's learning the way.
It's important. It's important. You got to limber up.
It's part of the culture.
Some of these fights.
It's part of the culture, you know.
If you've got some long rotations, you know, and you're not limbered up, wow.
Yeah, honestly, for
you.
some of the things that we've seen Bosa do on camera, I'm almost certain he taught him that one.
Yeah, he's got some moves, that guy. Well, the lead for FNATIC now secured, and we'll see them presumably clean this round up, but you got to remember, you're against a Sheriff, you're also against a Headhunter. There's still great potential for the Ascend side to do some damage, and not least because they're Ascend.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is that you're looking at both Starzo and CNED with potential to do some damage, but it's definitely not going to be an easy route to a round victory. Just any kills they can find, cost they can cause. Back, well, we've seen him in that position before with the Classics. Not gone quite as well as last time, and CNED isn't really able to get anything done here. They're cleaning this up quite easily, if anything, and, well, Starzo only 2 bullets, 1 fired, and a teammate left rotating.
Very nice. And for a round like this, you know, to compare it to Ascend's bonus where you have like a pistol and 2 Spectres alongside a few rifles. The big difference here is everybody on FNATIC is invested. You don't have the rifles to play with, but you do have Durka with both a Spectre and a Headhunter to play with. So your Guardian Spectre, essentially, a Guardian in the hands of Alpha Air, and then plenty of close range potential on the rest of the Spectres. It does mean that you don't want to lose anyone, because any death, it's no longer your shields and a ghost. All of a sudden, it's your 1k plus your weapon. And then your opponent's going to get to save it. So things get a little bit nasty. Luckily, though, they've walked away with everybody surviving and a nice, strong bonus round for them here, up against 5 Vandals. 5 rifles.
I'm fairly certain here, right, that at 7-5, I said that at 7-5 for Durka, I said that they'd done quite well of shutting him down. He is now 17-5. I don't think he's died since. I think he's got 10 kills in a row. I'm sure someone could check that, but if that's the case, that's actually ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure the second after you said that, he opped somebody with like right at the start of a round.
Yeah, it was Cena.
Just activated ever since.
Yeah.
Alpha Airs ran up mid with a Guardian and killed a site.
He's in their spawn. Oh, yeah, now they're trying to rotate, but they've got to go through obscure routes. Cena! Oh, there's no way he gets out of that one alive. This has been a mess of a round, and Alpha, well, I think we know he's already on the MVP sheet. The problem is he's currently second on it, maybe wanting to try and outdo the Finn on the other side. Monster, though, trying desperately to get something done. It's exactly the same as the last map. A decent position, 6-2 up for Ascend. They've lost 7 rounds in a row, Mitch.
Yeah, this got to start to hit them with a pretty strong sense of deja vu at this point. FNATIC just keep on rolling them, and the control never there for Ascend. Talking about 7 straight rounds, most likely 8, as FNATIC look for double digits up against pistols. I see Vax. He's messing around there with how much he could spend, but he's realizing it's maybe not in the best interest of the team to do that.
Oh, it's cheeky, but he's been spotted. They can even just start surrounding him, and there's a slow in the way. No way back for Starzo. Alpha you with the Guardian is just nasty. This kid only needs a bullet at a time. He can play patiently and find the headshot on almost every occasion. There's that gap for Vac, and okay, he'll take one. Monster has also found another on the flank. This is getting a little dangerous.
Spike planted.
There we go. If he can find this, it could have been massive. Still, a chance. Zeke and Vac on their way in, but they're running the gauntlet, walled off on one side, a Viper orb on the other. No matter which way they go, they'll have to deal with all three of these full HP players. Enzo tagged up a little, but still needs 2 to the body. Free as can be. 10-6, a round that we expected to go FNATIC's way is secured, and 1 away from Res for Mystic. They've also got a lockdown to play with as well as a tour de force. Tom, this is not looking like it's going to be an easy round for Ascend, but it is one that they have to win.
But this is the thing. At this point, one of the issues I feel like FNATIC had in the past was when things were going wrong, I always felt like that was it. Like they would just get blitzed out of games, and then they could come back into the next one and fix some of the problems after having talks in between games, and they'd be a much better side. When it's going well, it was always going well. This team looks different though, because that's now both maps, 4-0 down, 6-2 down, taking pauses, taking their time, having a chat through things, and then they just come back and, well, what, 8 rounds in a row? That's what we're looking at the moment. It doesn't seem like they have that mental dip. Now, part of that could be the Forsaken sort of look towards a honeymoon period and go like, oh yeah, no, they're all feeling great at the moment, but I genuinely just believe they brought in the right personnel. They've got Alfea, who has clearly come in as one of the greatest firepower additions to any squad ever. I think the one before that was probably also FNATIC with Durka, but hey, whatever. And then on the other side, I think this is the point I'm making, is the mental side of things. I think Enzo has clearly helped with a lot, because like they won, I think, their second round when they were 6-1 down. They won their second round. He's laughing and joking. You can see it on the cameras. They're having a good time, even though they were losing. And that is when a team is devastatingly scary.
Let's play.
I'll say, by far his best quality as a person is just Enzo is a bundle of joy. It really and truly is. I don't know how. How
does your girlfriend feel about the way you talk about him?
Mon petit ami, mon bisou bisou. Enzo, you know, it is what it is. But here's the thing, like, you know, this guy, I've sat in a team speak with him while he's been straight up just shouted at by someone, just like bombarded every round.
Who was that?
Like abuse. Oh, we don't need to talk. We don't need to talk. I'm not going to name names, but you know, he put up with some stuff he didn't have to. And I don't think I ever heard him raise his voice. I don't think I ever heard him lose his mind. He was always just like explaining, here's my perspective, here's what I think, blah, blah, blah. And in those moments, he'll always be like, hey guys, at least we got 13-1, not 13-0. But
wow.
I'm sure he can put a positive spin on that opening duel pretty easily. FNATIC, 1 man up, make it 2. Vac's gone down as well. A B-side's being assaulted. A lockdown and a wall guaranteeing a plant, but they will lose Durka. Big pick for Starzo.
Where is Cena? Cena needs a kill. He needs a kill. If he gets a kill, he's fine. He can just dismiss out of there. Is it going to last in time? He's not going to get pulsed, so he can survive around this corner. The res still was the only player that was lost, so the advantage is in their favor. But Cena given a chance. It's Mystic, though, to drop his teammate. Now Cena needs to do even more. We're focused on him for a reason, but Mystic will shut him down. No mishaps this time for FNATIC as they go up 11-6. The streak of 9 rounds continues.
An absolute heartbreak for any Ascend fans out there. This has been a rough first map, but the follow-up, it just ain't there. And I mean, when you look at the position they're in, it's not the end of the world. This can be that weak ride-off for them, but they're definitely going to be hurting not taking that top spot. You're looking at seeding problems and so on. Technically, tournament life's still on the line, moving through the rest of groups, although it looks very likely that, you know, they've already secured their spot. But this is a flat performance versus the top of the group.
You say that, though. As said, they've got, what, FPX coming up? Well, I think it's G2 next and then FPX. Now, yeah, sure, G2 are not looking good.
Yeah.
But if they play to the level they can, they could take that game. Like, they are a scary squad, so... And especially when elimination is on the line, G2 always seem to come up big. So I would not be feeling like massively confident about everything going forward. Nonetheless, here comes that execution again. Starzo desperately trying to find something.
They just can't find a pick around here. FNATIC are still tucked in. Now they've spotted him. Even more wary. In fact, so wary, they seem to just be giving up all control. Dirk is sticking around to try and find a duel. Intent because he can just TP back. And he wants to fake out this presence. There it is. Big kill. Zeke down. Another player here to try and challenge. Alphayer spraying away. They're making the noise. In fact, they're not even rotating back. Not yet. Not committing to it. They're exploring their options. Still opening the door for Boaster to late lurk up through B. But he's trying to catch somebody.
30
and the step is heard. He knows now exactly where Vac is. Boaster wants this fight. You can see it in his body language. There it is. And he's got it. Vac's down as well. The numbers thinned out on the site, still holding on. Starzo has to TP, and now the space is there for FNATIC.
It just seems like there's nothing Ascend can do at this point. Nobody wants to face this team when they're on form. When they're on that attack side of Icebox, they've looked invincible, and that invincibility hasn't worn off. They won this half 12-0 when they faced Oglu last week. They are yet to lose a round in their attack once again.
An incredible streak of rounds. I mean, just look at that timeline. It is nothing but FNATIC picking up round after round. Ascend haven't tasted victory in quite a while. Like you said, look, there is potential if G2 do some soul searching that Ascend's tournament life could be very much in danger.
It happened before. You remember they lost to BBL last season. They started strong. We spoke about them being the champions. Then they didn't even make it into the playoffs. It has happened before. Now, don't get me wrong. They look a lot stronger with this iteration. But things are not looking good here today. Monster in desperate need of more, and he gets it. A 2K that might have just given them the tiniest of lifelines. There's still so many players still to find. Durka being one of them. A Viper's Pit available as well. And more so just the space that Boaster is taking. Trying to sneak his way through and towards B, but he's waiting for support.
Look at how low Monster is, and nobody else has a rifle to work with, but of course Starzo.
The drone for Vac. He might have actually heard it as he used it just now. Oh no, he turns around. I thought he was going to just be stuck there instead. It's not going to be anything. It looked like a free kill because his back was turned. I assumed he was in the drone just because he wasn't actually moving, but instead he was just stood dead still. Timing, though, actually ends up working out for him.
Welcome to my world.
That Viper's pick could be the difference maker here for Boaster. He's going to hope it is. Sort of force for Starzo. Going to be tough to get back in with it. Hunter's Fury thrown in blindly. Makes sense, right? You no point just going in and dying, and then you don't have a Hunter's Fury, but you wanted a tag. They didn't find it. Snake bite down. And Boaster's going to just leave a little bit of space here. Try to get Durka a pick. Backside is covered. They're going to look to push it. Good swing by Monster. A successful challenge. And the defuse underway. Boaster good for one. Down goes the Viper's Pit. All he needed was one bullet to each. But Starzo was too aggressive. He was swinging wide. Catching Boaster off and putting 7 on the board for Ascend. The dream is not dead yet. They finally found a defensive round. Now they need 5 more in a row.
It's a combo breaker, that's for sure. I think, what was it, 9, 10? Can't even remember at this point.
A lot. Yeah.
I think it was 10. It was, because it was 6-2. 10 rounds in a row. So, and they're actually going to go for a double operator. I guess throwing everything they can at the wall here in an attempt to try and get something done. It looks like Zeke might be left with some weaker weaponry if that is the case. Yeah, just going to be a Guardian, but relying on this deadly duo, the duelist for the squad. Instant Viper's Pit out here looking like Pac-Man, but we'll see if there's going to be any attackers to gobble up.
There's going to be a flash out of this pit. I can almost feel it from Zeke. He's been so aggressive at moments. For FNATIC, pumping the brakes and waiting for some sign of life from Ascend, but with a minute on the clock, they've seen nothing. Start to put up a little bit of utility. It's the orb inside of mid that they've caught a player off with before. I like that idea. Put the orb down, the ops inside it, looking out, trying to find the pick, but still nothing. Ascend are just sitting down, waiting, confident in their setup. The mid containment here for CNET. He's going to get a peek out with the operator, but they're going back. Looking to move elsewhere underneath the tube in towards the B site, but there's still a lurk outside A. Alphayer is still there, and he's caught his reward. Zeke goes down.
Starzo, though, manages to find two with a flank. Vac jumps down and gets a double headshot as well. And now Alfire, no time for him to really get anything done. 15 seconds, and Monster will close it out. It was a round of fine margins just based on timing, but both Starzo and Vac come up big in this round. It is now a difference of just 4. It was a streak set of 10. Is the final hurdle going to be too much?
4 attempts to close this out, Tom. It just seems surreal. It seems impossible that ACEND make this happen. You're waiting for that one pop-off round where Alphayer, Durka, Boaster, these players have been on fire so far. You're waiting for one of them, or all of them, to step it up, take that multi-kill to close it across the line, if nothing else. But so far, that hasn't happened. Now, they're going to look to change things up moving towards A. Remember that Hunter's Fury got used up for nothing earlier on. Well, now there's a lockdown for Alphayer, and if they can get it into position, there's very little that ACEND can do to deny it. They'll have to put themselves at least in bad positions to take fights and use the height of pipes as well. Looks like that's what they're going for.
Unless they have a fragment lineup somewhere. Don't know how they're actually going to be able to get back into this one. And
there you go.
It's on the edge of it, but it's not quite reached.
No, it's
not
down
going to
below.
work. And that's a problem. The rest have to leave. Now, they do have the null command ready for the retake, but they've also caught the flanker. This leaves a very one-dimensional retake, and although they've pinged up nearly every player on the other side, that spike still goes down. Boaster, he's caught another, and every member of ACEND falls. FNATIC go 3-0 in the group, 2-0 in the match, and are looking invincible this season.
Can I take it back out? Am I allowed, Tom? Right now, I'll put it. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing to see the new FNATIC, what they're able to do, the success that they're bringing to the table. I mean, I'm loving it, Tom. But I gotta say, most of all, seeing Durka and Alphayer, it genuinely seems unfair. These two guys together on the same team. Wow, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, I imagine some of the Turkish teams are kicking themselves at this point that they didn't manage to get in there first. I'm sure every single organization in the world is currently doing that. But, well, we can get on to the player of the match. Now, I can guess without even looking at the list 2 of the 3 names. The third one's going to be Enzo. So, Mitch, here's your pitch. Why is Enzo the player of the match? Because we already know the reason for the other 2.
Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, the others have had their time in the limelight. Support players don't get enough credit. And playing as a Sova, constantly using that utility to help out his teammates to clear traps. Remember, those are the stats that don't get tracked.
Cut him
That's
off.
the ACS you never see.
Throw it to the desk.
Yeah, let's go to a break before we keep this going too
long. It's
long.
Dirk or Alpha.
We'll catch you in a little bit.
We'll see you
find out who
day.
the player of the match is after this.
Dare to challenge yourself. Who's next?
Red Bull gives you wings.
Dare to challenge yourself. Who's next?
Welcome back, everybody, and this victory is marked all for FNATIC. For that, they join us on the post-game interview. Dirk is on with us. Congratulations on your victory. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I'm feeling great, really. I think we deserve that win, and that was really important for us because I think we secured the players and we have 2 regular games left.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for those chances. They're pretty darn high up now. 3-0, looking to replicate the 5-0 that you had in stage 1. What was your X factor then to make map 1, Ascent, look so perfect from your side?
I think we practiced that map a lot, completely, and then I had to find new stuff for me, especially because I didn't know how to play that map on Chamber, but I think we found cool stuff, and it worked for us today, but also like Boaster gave us a lot of motivation before the game, so it was like, for me it was like we have to win this game today.
I mean, you all looked so happy, so positive throughout the whole thing. We were looking at all of your cameras after every single round. Everybody's smiling, everybody's having fun. Is this a big secret to FNATIC to just, keep that energy rolling?
Yeah, we are trying to have fun, hype our teammates, like celebrate each round that we win, and like not get sad over one unlucky round that happens sometimes. And just like if someone has a big round like Alpha here a lot, then we just like yell his name, smile, like just celebrate it.
Celebrate the victories. This is a very important thing. We always want to look at the negatives and really force us down, but that's a very good way to look at it. Now, you still have 2 more matches, like you said, against Focus and finally against G2, the final matchup of, well, the entirety of this stage. How do you see yourself going into those games?
So I think because we are almost secured the players, or like not 100% probably, but like most likely, I think we still have to go in those games and just like win them, show our good side, performance, whatever, and just get a 2-0 on both of them, get 5-0 in the groups, get the first seed, which is going to help us like the last time, and then we just have to finish out there.
I mean, looking to make stage 1 and stage 2 a 10-0 for FNATIC. Not too far away. 96%, I think, is how close or your possibility to make it into the playoffs. That's pretty close. So we'll have to see what happens in the next week. Dirk, thank you very much. Anything you want to say to the fans?
Thank you for all the fans. It's really like a big support, especially we got now a lot of Turkish fans. It's really nice. So yeah, teşekkürler. We're just having fun, yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Congratulations and good luck for your next week.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye. And there it is. FNATIC victorious. Make it 3-0. 2 away from completing the 10-0 they're looking for in 2 stages.
It's a cheeky smile is Meanie watching from above. And on the side of FNATIC is more of what we've been getting this past first 2 weeks. I think it's not only the consistency that they show, it's also how they read onto their opponent and they allow no answer. Even when ACEND was trying to change something onto their favor, FNATIC had already thought of that.
It's very actually peculiar because, I mean, not peculiar, interesting. Because whenever FNATIC loses the first rounds, we have seen the same scenario on ACEND, right? They lose the first rounds, they kind of take the teachings from those rounds, they learn how to counterplay in those situations, they adapt, and they win, and they chain rounds after that. It was actually insane because it was like 2-6, if I remember correctly, on Icebox, and suddenly they started winning 7 in a row or something like that. It's actually insane when you think about it, but still, 13 rounds in a row on ACEND. That was even more insane. But that guy, Alpha A here, as you can see, on the right side, he actually went insane on a Killjoy. 200 ADR on average. Wow. That is absolutely mental to deal so much damage on a support character like Killjoy.
I think we were seeing it every single round, the way that he was opening the map. They might be playing without that duelist, but definitely the firepower was there, coming in from Alpha, coming in from Dirk. I mean, it was something else. And on the side of ACEND, I swear to God, this is the team that gains the momentum the fastest and loses it the fastest as well. And it really looks like there is no turning back.
Well, the problem is they also have a composition that relies on that, right? They had no sentinel, like a no true sentinel that now can control the map because they only have one trap on chamber. And CNET, as I said in the pre-show, because he plays on Arena, there's a lot of pressure on him to perform. And he only dealt 89 damage per average on a round on a character that only relies on getting kills. That is, well, kind of setting up the team to fail, unfortunately, right? But that's the thing that they chose in their composition. So it's that's about it.
I think it comes down also to Zeke having a lot of first deaths. We saw him, especially on the defense, being extra aggressive and seeking for kills. And maybe, you know, when you have that on a KO and you also have a Reyna, if you already are on a 4v5 situation, it's more complicated for you to actually take the upper hand and decide onto the next step. Definitely, ACEND wasn't there for that second half after FNATIC started chaining round after round. You were mentioning, Lothar, how so many teams are lacking discipline, and on FNATIC, it's everywhere.
And discipline, even having a 16-year-old Turkish guy that just got added to the team, Al-Fajr lives up to the name because it literally means the heretic. And this guy is flying left and right in the server.
Al-Fajr just not only has great game sense, right, but also crispy aim. But I really like the way that he plays with his agent efficiently. And he swaps the roles so much, right? On the Killjoy here, on the Icebox, he was like, he is the main sentinel, right? His job is to control flanks on the attack, but at the same time, they were dividing that with Boaster and with Durka, because now they have so many agents that control the space.
Calling Dr. Lothar to the lab.
Okay, so I wanted, actually, this is a good call for the last round, because there's something about Al-Fajr that's very interesting in the last round, and also showcases a little bit of lack of prep from ACEND here, because this is the last round, deciding one, where Killjoy Ultimate Lockdown was going to be used on pipes. And even though, as Tom and Mitch mentioned during this round, there's no Hunter's Fury being available for ACEND, but there's the KO Defragment. And that's the most, I would say, consistent tool to actually destroy it. And now you can see here, this is such a painful moment for ACEND, because this Killjoy Lockdown means that every single player on ACEND now will have to leave the site. It's such a small difference. Look at this. This defragment just ends in this spot, right? But what is important is that when the lockdown goes in and FNATIC just collapse onto the site, look at Al-Fajr. He was the pivotal initiation for this round, but he also just goes back from that spot towards the back of the map, kills the rotating Viper, and then goes to the flank through the screens. That's his game plan. He's the plan B in case the players on site fail. Even though that, of course, doesn't happen because they just kill everyone because the lockdown pushed them out and everyone has to retake through the stairs and through the screens. They have the protocols to be consistent because Sova was on belt. He was ready to play in the post plant. The Al-Fajr was wrapping around towards screen, and 3 players are set on site for the crossfires. Like, it's just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, that is something that we're missing in some of the plays that we see from other teams. FNATIC has now 2 huge brains with Boaster and, well, not only Mealy, but also Enzo having on the server. And now they don't only have Durka, they also have Alpha, so it looks very scary.
And actually, you just said something. Who's the player of the match for this one? Well, Durka. It's him.
I mean,
I was kind of waiting for that one because, in my opinion, I think that Enzo did wonders today because I actually see the improvement week to week. But I can say the same for Durka.
Honestly, everybody on FNATIC did so excellently well today that it's very difficult to tell in between. They're all playing their roles perfectly, and they just look like a perfect cohesive unit. Probably the best we see right now in the EMEA.
Look. Durka had plus 28 on stats today over the course of 2 maps. Enzo had 26 assists combined, of course, on both maps. Like, the team
17 on Fade, that's the high.
Yeah, it's like insane when you think about it, how the team works in tandem. Like, you know, like it's just really well-oiled machine, and it's only gonna go better because I know that they're gonna just introduce more and more to their playbook. I really hope to see more Fade from FNATIC because they seem to understand how to grasp the idea of how to use Fade efficiently.
All right, time then to wrap up our day with the post show. Let's get it started.
This is so fast. Like, this is the fastest stinger ever. It's like
blinding.
Yeah.
Blindingly fast. And we saw the neon today. It was very fast in game number 1. And of course, we have our guest joining us, Enzo. Bring him up on the screen. He is from FNATIC. How are you doing, Enzo? Congrats on the win.
Hey, Enzo. And we can't hear Enzo.
Hello to all of you.
Oh,
there you go.
Hey, Enzo. How you doing?
We can hear you now. Go again.
We can.
Perfect. I was just saying hello. Like, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, happy to have you on with us. Congratulations on the victory today. First up, general thoughts on your game that you just, ended with ACEND?
I'm pretty happy about the way I played this game. I feel like the Guardian Angel at some point, just like we saw on Twitter. But now, like, as a support player, I really feel like I did my job. We had really good comms these 2 games. Everything was timed perfectly. It was on sync. We just had a little bit of lack of awareness for like 2 rounds on Icebox. But apart from this, and we are going to work on it. Apart from this, it was pretty clean from us.
I'm really looking forward to what you fix in 2 rounds, Enzo, but it looked flawless from the outside. So I want to know your opinion on how not only you prepared for ACEND for today, but actually how is the feeling? Did things work the way you wanted? Did you find anything on the way that was too hard for you to confront? Because it didn't look like it.
No, there was nothing too hard to confront, but we prepared for the game. Cheers to Boaster for preparing this game solo, because our coach Mini is sick right now.
Oh no!
So he did a lot of preparation. Yeah, it will get well soon. It's nothing, nothing, serious. It's fine. He's just feeling a bit sick right now. So Boaster did a huge prep solo, like on 4 or 5 maps, and we were ready. But a team like ACEND, they don't really have special strats to take care of. It's a team that like to fight, and we were aware of this, and we were ready for this. Like, they like to group up and fight, and the way they fight mechanically, the way they peek things, the way they move together is really good. So instead of preparing against a team like what we did against OG, where we knew all the strats, all the set plays, everything, we were ready for what ACEND does, which is basically the way they fight, and we were aware of it, and we were like, we could communicate and be like, okay, they're gonna fight this, and we have a setup to counter it, and that's pretty much it.
That's actually very cool to hear, because that's what we described in the pre-show on what is like the essence of the opponents. But I have a technical question, because you played Fade on ACEND. This time it looked really crispy clean, right? So what do you think is like the biggest strength of the agent? Is it like the way you time it with the other piece of utilities, or do you think it's like something that you use for yourself more? But I mean, the answer is obvious, but I want to hear it from you.
Fade is for the team, except maybe the dogs sometimes. That could be for yourself, and the cage, of course. But Fade is exactly like a Sova. It's an initiator. So what's the most important in that kind of support is the timing at which you're going to use utility. And to answer your question, the strength of Fade is like, the reveal is like a hit scan. So as soon as the eye pops, it's going to reveal everything around it. Whereas Sova is like 3 waves that you can actually dodge. It's not as straightforward, And about the timing, it has to be at the worst timing for the enemy. So not too early, so that they cannot destroy it, But not too late, so that your teammates can still use it. So it's like a mix, a happy medium that you have to find when you play Fade. And it has to be chaos for the enemy. It must be annoying to shoot it, because they have to choose between shooting the reveal and shooting the enemy that comes out at the same time. So that, and the dogs that are on steroids when they lock on someone, it's a crazy agent. I love it.
So to follow up, because you mentioned the chaos, and I hope maybe you remember the round on ACEND when you were retaking from Haven. It was a 3v3 situation, and you had only 2 tools in your disposal. It was the Seize and the Haunt, and you chose to use the Seize first. Was that because you wanted to fake that you're gonna use the Eye first to make sure that your opponents will be like paying attention to the Seize, and then you use the Haunt, or was there something else behind that utility usage?
By Seize, you mean the blob? Yeah, the cage that makes them...
Yeah, the cage, the grenade.
The blob. No, but the reason why you want to use that first is because if someone is detained by this blob, he's going to be deaf. And if he is deaf, he's not gonna hear the reveal coming up above his head. He's not gonna hear anything. So that guy will not really be able to shoot it for his teammate. So you kind of eliminate someone on the equation of the afterplant.
So maybe you don't realize, but what you achieved with that siege when you threw it on the generator area there, VAC was holding holding the boxes below heaven. He actually thought that's the eye. So he was like trying to like destroy it. His cross replacement was just in chaos because of that. He was
distracted, yeah.
Yeah, distracted. And then the reveal got all the 3 players because I think they weren't expecting that you have the eye ready.
Yeah, and this is exactly the kind of thing that you have to do in every afterplant or every execute with Fade, because it creates chaos for the enemy, and they have to think about many things at the same time. And also, every time you play a Sova or a Fade, it's nice to do both reveal and flash at the same time, because they have to look at the reveal, but then they get blind because they're looking at it, because the flash comes at the same time. And that, if you synchronize it, like it's really good, actually.
It's beautiful to hear you speak, actually. This is like Fade for dummies. So thank you for the insight. I have to tell you that I think that we can all agree, in between all the teams that have made changes, you look like the most efficient, and probably is your addition amongst Alpha that makes it look so strong. What do you think, from your perspective, makes you different from the other teams that have made the change? What is that key to success that you found?
It's hard to say after only 3 games, but I would say our team right now is very balanced, because we have Coach Mini doing a lot of work like tactically in depth. We have obviously Boaster doing the IGL work, and I'm also giving a lot of ideas, inspiration, feedback on everything that we do, and we have huge firepower on absolutely all 5 players actually. It's not only Alpha and Dirke, it's like all 5 of us. We are capable of great things in terms of firepower. But obviously Alpha and Dirke are the spearhead of the team, right? But the team is very balanced in terms of experience, in terms of leadership, and also like for the roles of everyone. So right now we are doing well, and we intend to keep going.
All right, well, that leads us into the next bit here, which is talking about the standings. And I kind of want to poke at your brain a bit to see what do you think about all of this. Of course, FNATIC at the top of Group A with 3-0, ACEND just after. But yesterday, there were a lot of changes, given that OG beat G2, but also in Group B, Gil taking down Liquid, and Na'Vi also taking out Big earlier today. What are your general thoughts on what happened there? And if you really see some oddities, let us know.
I think I'm very happy first of our performance, because we also are a new team. We have 2 new players in the team, so it's a great start from us. I believe FPX on Group A are going to win their next games. We on our side have a game against G2 and a game against Focus to play, so we're gonna see how it goes, but we're not going to go easy on anyone. Like, I think we have playoffs almost secured, but
96%, I think is the exact
96% from the calculation
it's looking good
of the desk. Yeah, okay. It's looking good. I agree. But yeah, we're gonna work for these games just like the other ones. And about Group B, I don't know. I saw the Na'Vi big game. I suspected Na'Vi were going to win. Unfortunately, I think it's over for Big right now. But honestly, when you look at how they play, the level is actually really high. So what I can say is that in VCT EMEA, it's really stacked. Everyone is really, really good. Like, it's very challenging. It's a very challenging region.
Did you watch actually the match between G2 and OG?
I was gonna ask him about that too.
I mean, I'm supporting Hype. Hype is my old teammate,
Exactly,
and
that's what I'm asking.
I'm trying to watch his games as much as I can. I only saw Fracture because we were practicing all day with the team, so I could only have time to see Fracture. And this is the game that they want to close up the map, I think. And I liked what I saw, but I can't say more than that. Like, I did not watch the game in details, but I am going to watch it in details to prepare for G2, obviously.
Oh, we actually wanted to know your thoughts on how G2 is swapping things around and, changing the roles. What are your first thoughts? You only saw one map, but was that enough?
Yeah.
Because if it was Fracture, it was Hoodie on Neon, Nuki on Chamber.
And Mixwell on KO, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think. Maybe they have internal conversations about the roles of everyone.
For sure.
I don't think they did anything really bad. like necessarily because they're all great players, yeah.
You're
But-
too nice.
Yeah.
I don't know like what's the plan. Maybe they had internal discussions about the roles of everyone to get
For sure.
like when you play an agent like Kaio, for example, and you give Kaio to Mixwell, you need to know that Kaio sounds like an initiator, yeah, because it's going to be like that's the role. But Kaio is kind of a duelist, kind of like
Yeah,
after you
100%.
flash, you knife and stuff, Kaio is going to go in, right? So maybe that's one of the reasons they made role changes because they want people to go in more, yeah. That's sometimes I'm saying that because sometimes that's the reason why you do changes. But I have no idea. Like really, all I can say is they must have had nice conversations together, and that's it.
That's okay.
Now we want to look into the future. So our schedule for tomorrow, our final day of week 3. Mech go up against BBL with Focus versus FPX. Turn to you first, Enzo, for some thoughts on this. How do you see these games going?
I would say Mech on the first game would win, but it's going to be a close game because BBL we practice quite a lot against them, and they're pretty good. Like honestly, they're playing really well. And Focus against FPX, like I said, I would see FPX qualifying to playoffs on this second game.
Yeah, but what are your thoughts on to Focus? Because obviously you're going to be facing them next week. So we're going to assume that you will be watching tomorrow. What do you think is going to be the biggest task for them?
We need to identify, well, what's their trend, their playstyle, like everything that we do every time we anti-strat. It's really interesting in VCT because I feel like every team has their own playstyle. ACEND have their own, they're fighting a lot. OG have like a mix, you know, a mixed way to fight. I mean, like a lot of executes, but also a lot of defaults and stuff. So all we have to do now is identify how Focus is playing and be ready for it. I don't know exactly how they're playing right now because I didn't watch all their games, so I couldn't tell really. But all I know is that from our point of view, we are going to do the homework for them, just like any other team.
Kakuka, your thoughts then on tomorrow's games?
That second one, I'm really looking forward to. For me, Focus has proved a lot, but FPX, I agree with them. So I think that they're going to make it. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn.
Well, on paper, I would say it's Mech and FPX are taking it. But, you know, on paper, also Liquid and G2 should have won it yesterday. So who knows? But I'm a big fan of Focus, the way they play. It's very disciplined, actually had a lot of structure. While Mech lately wasn't showing exactly that. It was actually like even, you know, against Guild, that match was very chaotic.
Yeah, the things that they were trying, they haven't been as successful as you were. And so we hope the best for them because we want to see them back.
Well, Enzo, thank you very much for joining us here on the post-day show. Congratulations on today and good luck in the next week and maybe qualification into the playoffs.
Thank you very much. See you guys.
Bye.
Have fun. See you.
Oh, he's so nice.
I would just like every guest to be Focus, you know?
Yes.
speaks
He's
his
so
mind.
insightful.
Yeah,
gives
gives
us
us
the
an
answer
insight.
that we want. Give us a little more than, oh, you played nice. Oh, yeah, I know. Okay.
We got lucky. We played our own game. We shot better, and then they got unlucky.
We're
That's my
actually not
favorite.
slow.
That's my favorite interview.
You're really giving me PTSD at this point. Well, every host knows what all of this is about. Well, friends, thank you very much for today. We might have, you know, kind of wrap things up here in EMEA, but there's always more action to cast and to go through and really to look into. NA is coming up in just a bit, and that's Sentinels versus Optics. Sentinels versus Optics. Yes.
Sentinels not that good anymore.
They're not as good as
Nobody cares about
EMEA.
Sentinels anymore.
They're not as good as EMEA, but you know what? If you want to watch, they're coming up right after, so make sure you're here. And a final thing, if you want to watch the VODs for all the games, ValorantEsports.com/VODs for all the info that you need. Never miss a match. Thank you so much, though, for watching yesterday and today. We still have one more day to go through for week 3, so we'll see you tomorrow for it. Signing off.